4 years ago, I downloaded an app called Poshmark, and little did I know back then, this would change my life forever. I downloaded it in the hopes of just trying to get rid of some old clothes that I was no longer wearing or that I never wore to begin with, and the next thing I knew, it turned into $10,000 in profits. Here's how I did it. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark. Today we are talking about how I made my first $10,000 reselling. This has been quite a journey for me and it's pretty much unlike anybody else's journey, and I wanted to kind of let you all know that sometimes it doesn't have to be a fast journey, but it's just a matter of how we got there, and it may have taken longer for others or it may be very quick for some, but this is my journey, and while yours may not look the same, we all got there somehow. And so I wanted to show you how I got there and kind of walk you through everything that it took me to get there. If you're interested, please continue to watch. So let me take you back to April of 2018. I downloaded Poshmark. I was just about to graduate college and I came across this app where I could sell clothes. I could sell used clothes, I could sell new clothes, I could sell purses, accessories, shoes. And I was so intrigued by the idea of this because in high school I had always taken my clothes to like a Plato's Closet or something like that to like try to make some cash on clothes, because I wasn't working a full job back in college, and in high school I would take any money I can get with jobs because I always wanted to go places, but I never had like enough money to do that. So I always was taking them to Plato's Closet, but I never really was making a lot of money. I would sell like 5 items and I'd get like a couple dollars, and I'd be like, okay, well that's not really worth it. So I came across this app in the app store called Poshmark, and I immediately downloaded it. I'm like, I need to get on this. And then I kind of sat on it for quite some time. I downloaded it, I set up an account, and I just sat on it. Didn't do anything on the app for a little over a year, actually. A little over a year later, in May of 2019, is when I started listing my first items on Poshmark, and I actually made my first sale in May of 2019 as well. I wasn't listing a lot, I was kind of listing like here and there, kind of like 1 to 2 items every so often, and I was taking horrible pictures, I was kind of like putting really bad descriptions, I was selling things really cheap. Now looking back, I'm like, wow, I ripped myself off big time there. But again, it was just, I wanted to get rid of things and I wanted to make some extra cash. So that's how I started. I kind of was just like listing things here and there and just kind of selling them for $5, $8, like literally dirt cheap. While I wasn't listing a lot, I also wasn't making a lot of sales, and I was not making a lot of money at all. I think from May of 2019 to about March of 2020, I made maybe $1,000 in sales, just because I wasn't really selling things for a large amount, and I wasn't really selling a lot to begin with, because I was just kind of taking it from my own closet. So you can imagine I probably wasn't pulling that much, just because then I would have no clothes left in my closet. Fast forward to March of 2020, when the pandemic happened, I shut down my closet. Because I figured, well, I don't want to risk anything at that point. Like, no one knew what was going on, but I wasn't going to go out to the post office, and I didn't want to have interactions with people, so I just shut down my closet. I didn't really think much of it. I didn't really think it was going to do anything because, it wasn't really like that established or anything, and so I didn't think it was a problem. But by this point, I had already been a Poshmark ambassador, and I had already worked really hard to get to where I was, but I really wasn't thinking of it as like a side business at this point. I was more thinking of it as like a side hustle. Like, it was kind of just like, okay, I'm just gonna make some extra money here, but it didn't really bother me too much that I had closed down my shop. And I had closed down shop until about the summertime, probably like late summer, so like August, September timeframe. And then by that point, people started kind of going out again, but they were being more cautious, and I figured it was okay to start going to the post office. I would just wear a mask, or I could schedule a pickup. This is when I discovered that you could schedule pickups. And so that's what I started doing. And around that time is when I was like, okay, I think I need a new way to get inventory, because just getting things from my own closet is not getting me enough inventory. So I started reaching out to family and friends, and I kind of said, look, I'm doing this little side hustle. It's really fun when I make a sale. Do you have any clothes that you're looking to get rid of that you're not wearing anymore? And to my surprise, so many of my family and friends were willing to give me things. I was like shocked. I was like, all right, I don't know what to do with all these clothes. I can't list all these things fast enough. And at this point, I did not have a setup. I didn't have a backdrop. I didn't have a ring light. I didn't have anything. And so I was just kind of taking the pictures wherever I could, sometimes on my bedspread, sometimes on my carpet, sometimes on a door, sometimes in like the shower. Like, it was like, I would just take them wherever I could. And so the pictures were horrible quality. They were not white backgrounds. Around this time is actually when I also went to the Goodwill for the first time for my business to start sourcing. I had said I want to turn this into a small business from a side hustle, and I wanted to put a lot of effort into this. So I started going to Goodwills, I started going to thrift stores, and I started looking them up in my community to see if there was anything nearby that I can use as inventory. Let me tell you, I had a lot of fun at my first thrift store that I went to. I was like picking up everything. I was like, oh, this is a good brand, this is a good brand. Little did I know, a lot of those brands were not good, and some of them are still sitting in my closet to this day. I really hope somebody buys them soon because I'm kind of tired of seeing them around. But it was like one of those things where like I didn't really know what I was doing at that point because I was selling brands that I was familiar with that I was wearing myself. And so I was like, okay, well, I would wear this brand. I'm gonna buy it to resell. Or like, oh, I've always known this to be a good brand. I'm gonna buy it to resell because I think it will sell really well. Little did I know some of those brands were not as good as I expected them to be. And that's kind of one of the lessons learned in this video is like, sometimes I didn't know what I was picking up because I was inexperienced. And so the first time I went thrifting, I had a lot of fun, but I don't think I picked up a lot of things that were like really that good. Fast forward about 2 months of October 2020 is when I downloaded Instagram to kind of promote my business and kind of just make more friends in the community. There was a lot of questions I had, especially when going to the thrift stores and like what to pick up. And so I decided to make an Instagram for my business to kind of use the community that's already out there and kind of get to know them and ask them questions. I started making friends immediately. I was like trying to connect with every other reseller on there, and I was like, you know, following people and I was messaging people. And it was actually really cool because that month I actually won a Poshmark giveaway from the Poshmark Instagram page. And you bet I was through the moon excited. I was like, wow, this is so cool. I just downloaded like Instagram for my business and I already won a giveaway. It was like so cool to me. It wasn't until February 2021 where I started really getting good inventory. Here's how I did that. I started using an app called Nextdoor to reach out to people in my local community to get donations or to get bags of clothes in bulk. This was a way for me to get things without actually having to go out and source them. Since I worked a full-time job, I didn't really have time during the day to go out to the thrift stores, and my weekends were always really busy, and I felt like I was spending a lot of time at the Goodwill or the thrift stores not knowing what brands to pick up, and sometimes I would think that the Goodwills were a little overpriced, so I didn't want to like, you know, buy too much and then not be able to sell it. So I was looking for a way to get a lot more inventory, but maybe at like a cheaper cost. And a lot of the times, a lot of people on Nextdoor were willing to give me things for free, which was crazy to me. So I started reaching out for donations in February. And again, because it was still a crazy time where people were kind of unsure to go out, I would tell them that they could put it curbside for me and I would just come pick it up. And that was kind of like the way of me paying them for the stuff. It's just me picking it up from their house. I did this for a couple months, probably until about June. And I got a lot of inventory. I got a lot of people reaching out to me saying they had stuff that they didn't want anymore. I was really excited because I was like, wow, this is a good way to get a lot of inventory. And so I would get like bags and bags and bags from people at once. And sometimes I would like make multiple stops in a day. I'd try to like map out like a good path and just go and get a bunch of stuff. And then I would spend forever trying to go through the bags and then like organize, like, is this good? Is this not? And like, there was a lot of brands that I actually had to do my research on because again, I was kind of new. So I was trying to learn what was going to be good and what was not going to be good. While a lot of the things that I got donated were not great, or they were kind of like mediocre brands, or like a lot of like the same brands that are kind of saturated, there was a lot of really good things that I found in these bags that I got for free that kind of really kickstarted my business. I was donated brands such as Dooney & Burke, Coach, Christian Dior, Ellie & Fisher, Chloe, so many big brands that like really have a good resale value. People donated to me for free. It was mind-blowing. So I started going through things and I started coming across these really nice items. I found like a vintage Chloe bag, and at first I was like, I don't know if this is real, I don't know how to authenticate it. And I did my research, I looked into it, and it turns out it was real. And that bag, or it was not in like great condition, but it still sold. And then the Christian Dior silk, 100% silk scarf that I got was also donated to me. And while it wasn't in perfect condition, it still sold pretty well. And then I got some Coach handbags and some Dooney & Burke handbags, and some were even vintage, so they sold even really high. I got a 100% wool Ellie & Fisher new with tags sweater. That sold really well for me. And then I even got a lot of vintage Juicy Couture. So I got like the velour sets, and then I got a string bikini set as well. that was like denim. So like those things sold really well. The vintage velour sets sold like over 100 each, and then the bathing suit sold around 100 each for the set. So like some of these things I got donated, I was very shocked, and I was like, whoa, why did I just get all these things for free? Like I've been going out paying for things at the Goodwill and the thrift stores, and here I just got all this really good inventory for free. So my sales started really picking up. I started listing more, and my sales were like the highest they've ever been, and I was like really happy. And April of 2021, it was like my best month yet. I had made I think I made over $2,000 in that month, which was my highest month yet. And I really felt like I was, growing my business. I was really proud of where I had come, from a year prior. Because I was starting to make more and more sales, I thought I needed to kind of brand myself. I wanted people to remember me. I wanted my customers to have something to remember every time they made a purchase from me. So 2021 is when I got my own custom packaging, I got my own business cards, and I made my own logo. Peep here on my shirt to the current edition of my logo that has had many different examples of it throughout the time, but this is what I have now, and I'm so happy with it, and I really love how far I've come with it. And I think it just adds a nice personal touch to have my own packaging every time I ship out orders, and have, my nice business cards that I put in every order that I hand out to people on the go when I talk about the business. But I really think this helped, because I think it made me feel more established, and it made me feel like it was more my business now, because I had my own packaging and I had my own branding and my own logo. And as 2021 came to a close, and I had made a lot more money than I had ever expected to make reselling, I wanted to continue to grow. So I made this YouTube channel actually, and I also made a TikTok, and I really just started trying to get out there to promote my page, to promote my business. By the end of 2021 is actually when I reached my $10,000, my first $10,000 profits from reselling. So yeah, it may have taken me a couple years to get there, but if I count the actual months it took me to get there, it wouldn't have been a couple years worth. And it was a kind of slow start in the beginning, but really I'd say the majority of my business started from the end of 2020 to the end of 2021, and that's where things really ramped up for me. Because all this was working really well, and I was really starting to pull in a lot of sales from month to month. I was making around $1,000 a month before, fees and stuff. I was really excited, and I wanted to continue, so I ended up downloading Canva, and now I use that. I pay for that yearly, and that really helps me, with my YouTube thumbnails, my Instagram pictures, all of that. And I also started buying in bulk now, so I buy from different stores online and buy in bulk, so I don't have to go out to the thrift stores all the time. And while I still really enjoy going to the thrift stores, sometimes I just don't have the time to do it, and so I want a way to get more inventory quicker, so I buy in bulk. So I've learned a lot in the last couple of years on how to resell and how to get my business to grow, and I'm so happy with where it's going now, and I can't wait to see the future of this business and where it takes me. So like I said, this journey may not be like everybody else's journey. Some people might have made their first $10,000 a lot quicker than I did, but honestly, from when I started to the point of me making that $10,000, I did not expect to get that far. I was thinking I was gonna make maybe a couple $100 and that was it. And then it just started really picking up for me, and then I really started enjoying it, and I never looked back. And I'm so happy with where I am and where the business is, and I just want to keep growing, and I just want to keep making more and more sales. And I'm approaching 1,000 sales, and I'm way past that $10,000 mark, and I am so thrilled. And I appreciate everyone who's been along this journey with me, whether you were someone that purchased from my closet, whether you were someone that shared my closet, whether you follow my closet, or maybe you follow me on YouTube or on Instagram or even TikTok. Or if you are just someone that, has come across my business along the way, some other way. I am really appreciative of everyone, and I cannot wait to see where this business keeps going in the future. So to wrap it up, this is how I made my first $10,000 reselling. I'm really curious below how you made your first $10,000 reselling. So comment that down below, and let's have a cool discussion to kind of share our stories, because I'm so curious to see how other people started, and how long it took them to make their first 10,000, or what they had to do, what steps they took. So comment down below, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss other reselling content, because I do this every week. I do one video a week, and then I do shorts daily on this channel. So if you're interested in any kind of reselling content, I have tons of playlists linked that you can watch to see other content. If you want to see how the Poshmark algorithm works, you can click here. And if you want to see my last video where I talk about reselling myths or misconceptions, you can click right here. If you want to see any other reselling content, just click the links down below and it'll take you to the playlists. And until next time, I'll see you then.